Alright people, we back at this view. I think you guys like it. We back on the webinar again. You guys gonna say hi? No,
Hey.
See it? That's many goats. You don't know who it is. They were actually talking. We've been talking about this for a while. It's in the videos I've posted on YouTube. I think we should talk about it now because it brings up, we were just literally talking what's gonna happen with oil. And I wanna talk about oil's potential effect on the market and what could happen, why it's just important to look at it now. So if you are new, you wanna subscribe to this channel, and if you want to get into trading, you want to join our cult. Yes, C-U-L-T, cult. Now, you could go to just, you'll get more info. You have to find a guy with a hoodie and he'll give you more info if you're actually serious about it. But to the serious stuff with the stock market, oil is at an interesting point. So here, excuse the messy desk. Here's oil. This is tradingeconomics.com. I use it. We could pull up on the stocks like USO and you guys could see something like that. But pretty much this is the debate. Oil could make the stock market crash. Now I'm saying that in the sense of this is just one of the big effects. If you watch the videos we've talked, Brexit is actually coming back to life. Connor, you see that news actually?
No, I don't think so.
So, maybe I'll make that in another video, but there's issues again with Brexit. So that's one thing. And how oil goes into Europe can affect oil. That's one big factor. But the next thing is China. China and oil, and then also OPEC, Saudi, Iran, what's going on with all that stuff. It's going to affect it. But what I want to show you guys is that oil's dropped. It's in a bear market. It had a 12-day loss right here. This was the biggest since, I think, ever, honestly. One of the biggest downturns in oil. And the key to this is that you're seeing this big move and the market has moved with it, but not as much. And what I'm saying is if this continuation continues with the scope of everything else, it could push the market down further. But now if oil keeps dropping and some of the other tensions like Brexit, trade wars get better, rates, it could balance it out. But what I'm looking for, so here's a potential thing, I'm keeping my eye out for, is for oil to capitulate, keep going down, and then finally having an effect. And now why is this important? You guys need to look at oil's history. 2014 was the first time you saw a big move, and it went from 106 to 40, and through this time, this was before the flash crash. So this was one big drop, it came back up, and then it had that next leg down in 2015, and this is where all emerging market growth concerns happened. There's no coincidence that oil dropping and emerging market growth coincide with each other. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. That might be confusing if you're not too into this stuff, but that's one thing. But what I'm saying is if you go look at the S&P and you see these moves in oil, and we go pull up the S&P 500, let's go look at those same charts. I got to put it here. We go 5 years. That's so crazy to think about. 14. 14 was 5 years ago. And this is what I had a 18-year-old apply to the trading fraternity in the pledge class. And I told him, I was like, man, you're 18. By the time you're my age, 25, Facebook could double. That's a 6-year period, 7 years. So it's crazy to think this happened 4 years ago. For me, it's very, very recent. That's when the trading fraternity started. So to see this kind of happening now and have a lot of people be ignorant to what oil has done in the market, it's good. And really don't get confused because a lot of people will follow oil on a day-to-day basis. Oil doesn't really work like that. But when it does have these moves, you want to pay attention. Go watch my video with inflation. This is the shit that affects global trade, the value of currencies, the value of assets, the value of money, the value of the stock market. There is a chain reaction. This is economics, my friend, okay? This isn't technical bullshit. This isn't, we're really looking at what's going on in the world, what's changing it, leading to changes in business, profits, money, and yeah, it's a weird, it's not fundamental analysis, but it's not technical analysis, but this is, people ask me, how do you know a stock's gonna move? This is it. But looking here, this was right before oil dropped. It had a little drop in 2014 and it had this little drop in the SPY, and then when oil started to capitulate, well no, it was right here. First it was this big drop, then it went back up, a little drop here, and then as oil kept going, it came down. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. We had one big oil drop here. It's going to come out, and every other one of these moments, you could almost connect oil drops with that. And then after this, oil's ripped up and now it's coming to where it is. This is the important part, and I want to see kind of where it goes from here. But this is what I mean. Oil could crash the market because it is having an effect. People have already taken notice, and what I'm saying is that people have taken a notice, but I don't feel as if they've priced it in, or if they don't see it as much, or they think it could, because it's dropped a lot. So to see it change, and really there hasn't been big news. That's the next thing. We haven't heard anything crazy from oil except that it's dropped a lot. Nothing from OPEC. I think there was some Saudi stuff, I believe, but nothing too crazy. But that being said now, Conroy, anyone else? Do you have a different opinion or supporting opinion? What do you guys think?
No, I feel that. I mean, that's kind of been, you know, it's been China oil for straight years. That's what we've been looking at. When China's doing well, oil was doing better, you know, we were running. Obviously, like you said, bigger effects, like globally, economy-wise, can kind of damper that a bit, but it is one of the big leading factors. I think you didn't mention, you know, when you were mentioning oil as a whole, I don't think you mentioned the main culprit, which has been the technology of U.S. fracking. Like, that is literally what is crushing oil. They're able to pull such a monster amount of oil out of the ground in a time frame that was just not possible previously, that it's just absolutely crushing supply. Like, there's availability for so much supply.
Dude, actually, I'm glad you said that, because that does bring up a huge point, that oil, since 2014, the oil market's changed forever. Even how oil is, like, when it bounced, when it dropped to 60, I didn't think it would get past 60 for legitimately 10 years, especially when it hit 26, just because last time oil had a 50% decline, it was the Iraq-Iran oil crisis. And oil dropped like that, and it stayed in a $10, $5 range for 15 years. It's a big commodity.
Make it up on the other end, right? Like,
exactly. But now with the technology, they could, you know, they could bounce back, do that, and it's just been moving. They've been doing cuts. So for oil to make these gyrations, you know, it's funny because a 4-year period may sound like a long time, but it's really not. This is what it takes for big. Think about it. Amazon took 4 years for people to fucking click, oh shit, they're making a lot of money. That's how markets work with this data, and this is where big valuation shifts and changes come. So keep a lookout on for that. I'll leave you guys with that. We'll keep it short. Subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, drop a dislike, drop anything. I don't care. But, you know, understand we have a cult and we will find you. I love you guys. Stay in school. They're going to get freaked out. Bye.